Discover the amazing power of a clear goal. 5 life-changing steps to discipline your mind. In the struggling town of Willow Creek, with its faded storefronts and gray winter skies, Sarah felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. Each day she juggled 2 minimum-wage jobs while her dreams of becoming an artist had been swallowed by the demands of reality. Nights were spent hunched over a worn kitchen table, bills stacked like a mountain, with her teenagers, Jake and Emily, drifting further into their own lives. Every attempt at reminding them of better days ended in silence, their once vibrant family fading like the paint on the walls. One rainy afternoon, a flicker of hope caught her eye: a flyer at the community center. Join us for a support group. Reclaim your life. Intrigued, she hesitated but felt an irresistible pull. That night, she found herself seated among strangers in a sunlit room filled with tension and possibility. Across from her stood Jack, a battle-hardened veteran whose eyes reflected a lifetime of struggles and victories. His passion for helping others ignited something deep inside her, a faint glimmer of the ambition she thought she had lost. As Sarah dove into Jack's 5-step plan for discipline, she felt the colors of her once vibrant dreams begin to resurface. She thrived on clarity as Jack guided the group with insight and encouragement. Igniting a passion that had long been buried, she dreamt not only of brushing her canvas, but of loving herself and finding balance in her home life. But little did she know, her family life would soon become the canvas marred by grief and frustration. Jake, once the protective older brother, felt overshadowed and neglected. "You care more about your dreams than us?" he exploded one night, anger flashing in his eyes. Emily, the peacemaker, started withdrawing. The laughter that had filled their home was replaced with suffocating silence. At every turn, Sarah felt their resentment carving deeper lines in her heart. Yet the whispers of ambition called louder than before as whispers of her achievements echoed through town. Judgmental eyes scrutinized her every move. Friends who once rallied in solidarity now clucked their tongues, suggesting she had betrayed the struggles they all shared. Her heart raced. Could these dreamers be wrong? Or was she simply another fool lost in ambition? Then came the pivotal moment that sent her spiraling. Sarah felt the thrill of leadership in the support group. Her voice rang out, and she was eager to inspire. But the applause she once cherished now echoed hollowly in her ears. That night, as she returned home, arguments erupted like fireworks at a 4th of July celebration. Angry words made her question if chasing dreams had been worth sacrificing the bond she shared with her children. Staring at her family, visibly torn and aching, Sarah felt fear grip her heart. "I love you both," she yelled through tears, emotions spilling over. "This isn't about leaving you behind. It's about making our lives better." As the vulnerability hung in the air, she realized dreams could be a double-edged sword. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The storm held its breath as tensions rose. Her heart pounded. The chance of losing her children twisted deep within. Would they ever understand that dreaming big didn't mean abandoning those she loved? As their eyes met, a fragile, thunderous silence lingered. Decisions loomed. Could ambition coexist with love, or were they destined to tear each other apart? The path ahead felt uncertain, yet she, resolved to find her way back to them. What would she choose? The days that followed were a haunting mix of hope and despair. For Sarah, it felt as if she were walking a tightrope, balancing her dreams with the weight of her family's expectations. Each morning, she rose early, scribbling her thoughts and feelings in a journal, pouring out her heart onto the pages. She wanted to share these with Jake and Emily, to show them the depth of her struggles and the love that anchored her ambitions. But every time she thought about opening that door, fear gripped her. What if they didn't understand? One chilly evening, as autumn leaves danced outside, Sarah gathered the courage to knock on Jake's door. "Can we talk?" she asked softly, her heart hammering. He hesitated, then nodded, his eyes clouded with unresolved feelings. They sat together on the bed, the silence heavy, both wishing things were different. "I don't want to lose you," Jake finally said, his voice raw. "But you're changing, Mom. Feels like you're leaving us behind." "I'm not leaving," she exclaimed, emotion pouring from her. "I'm trying to build a better life for us. I thought you'd understand that." The ache in her heart deepened. Why couldn't he see the truth? Jake looked down, his fingers fidgeting with the hem of his shirt. "It's not easy to see it that way. It feels like you care more about what is happening outside than what is happening here." His words stung, but she recognized the plea for connection hidden beneath the frustration. "You have to believe I love you both," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Every stroke I make on that canvas is for you. I want to create a life where we all thrive together." Suddenly, Emily appeared in the doorway, her face pale. "Mom, can I listen?" In that moment, Sarah's heart swelled with both joy and trepidation. This was the opening she had longed for. She reached out to Emily, pulling her gently into the circle. The three of them, once a tight-knit trio, now strained, sat in a fragile solidarity. They needed to talk, to weave their fears and hopes into a tapestry of understanding. Their voices intertwined, circling around the unspoken. Sarah shared her dreams not as gifts to the world, but as offerings to her family, a way to pull them back from the edge of isolation. She spoke of the joy art had brought her, how it made her feel alive, and how she yearned for them to feel that happiness too. "But what if I'm not good enough?" Jake eventually asked, channeling his brotherly protectiveness into vulnerability. Emily chimed in with her doubts about carving her own path in life. Sarah saw it clearly in their eyes. They were searching for permission to dream, just as she had been. "You are enough," she insisted, tears glimmering. "You're both so talented and strong. Pursue your passions, whatever they may be. We can be a family that dreams together." That night transformed the silence between them into a promise. A tentative yet powerful alliance forged in the midst of fear and hope. It felt like the first stroke on a fresh canvas, a beginning anew. A small flame flickered in the room, both freeing and grounding them, painting shadows on the walls that seemed less stark, however. As Sarah lay awake, buoyed by their conversation, shadows of doubt crept in. Would the fragile peace hold? Could they really support each other as they chased their dreams? She knew the road ahead would be riddled with obstacles. The support of her family was only the first step. When the sun flashed its morning colors, Sarah awoke with determination coursing through her veins. Today, she would reach out to others in the support group and invite Jake and Emily to join her. They would face the world together. But as she prepared for this new chapter, she also wondered what challenges awaited them on this path. What if the outside world proved to be too harsh? Would old friends continue to abandon her for chasing dreams? The familiar weight of uncertainty settled on her shoulders, but hope flickered on the horizon. How could their lives change if they dared to step outside the shadows together? The essence of family was waiting to be rekindled if only they could find the light. What were they willing to risk for that illumination? The sun streamed through the window, painting the room with warm hues, but Sarah felt a chill as she stepped into the day. The moment she'd been preparing for had finally arrived, yet uncertainty lingered like a thick fog around her. After an early breakfast with Jake and Emily, she caught flickers of curiosity mirrored in their eyes. They could sense something was changing, but whether it was hope or fear, she couldn't tell. "Are you ready for today?" Jake's voice broke the silence. He fidgeted with his phone, a nervous habit that reminded Sarah of a child waiting for a big event. "Yeah, I'm ready," she said, forcing a smile. "We're doing this together." Emily looked up from her cereal, her brow furrowed. What if the group is awkward? What if nobody understands us? Her voice trembled just slightly, revealing the underlying worry she carried. "Just remember, everyone there has their own struggles," Sarah reassured her. "It won't be just us." Yet, despite her own encouraging words, trepidation loomed large in her chest. What if the other group members dismissed their dreams or their emotions? The drive to the community center was filled with an almost palpable tension. Each stoplight felt like a countdown, intensifying the flicker of hope intertwined with fear. Once they parked and stepped into the building, the heavy door creaked open to reveal a warm room filled with scattered chairs and a soft chatter among strangers. They took a seat in the back, and Sarah's heart raced. As more people arrived, the room's energy shifted. Some looked eager, others hesitant, but all wore expressions reflecting a shared experience. Would they find courage here? As the facilitator began, Sarah felt the weight of the moment. Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to share stories about our dreams and the challenges we face in pursuing them. At first, the stories were quiet, spoken softly in the dim light. But as each person spoke, their vulnerability hung like a delicate thread weaving through the room. Sarah listened to a young woman describe her dream of becoming a dancer, only to be met with discouragement from family. An older man shared how he longed to write, but life had pulled him in different directions. Then, unexpectedly, it was her turn. Heart-pounding, Sarah stood, the room suddenly feeling larger than life. I'm Sarah, and this is my family, Jake and Emily. We're here because we want to support one another in finding our passions. As she spoke, she poured out her heart, her dreams of art, her love for her children, and the fear that accompanied their journey. The silence that followed was heavy, but then a gentle applause erupted, a wave of acceptance washing over her. Jake and Emily shifted beside her, their expressions a combination of pride and surprise. This moment was theirs together. They were all in it. Seeing the empathy in the room made her soar, a warmth rippling through her. This was what she sought, connection in the chaos. As others began to open up about their dreams, Jake found the courage to share. I want to be a filmmaker, he said, his gaze steady. But I'm scared I'm not good enough. The words hung in the air, and Emily joined in, her voice shaky. I want to write stories that matter, but I hold myself back. With each revelation, the bonds of their collective experience knit them closer together. For Sarah, it was a turning point. This journey they were on wasn't just about chasing dreams. It was about finding each other again, piece by piece. Yet as they left that day, a nagging question gnawed at Sarah. Would the support they found here last beyond these walls? Could they sustain this newfound connection when faced with the world outside, with its looming rejections and doubts? As they drove home, the sunset cast a golden glow across the sky. Sarah turned to Jake and Emily and asked, what if we set some goals together? Something to keep us connected? Excitement bubbled in her chest. Jake and Emily exchanged glances, considering the possibilities. Would this be the leap they needed? What would those goals look like, and could they truly commit as a family, together? In that moment, the road ahead stretched wide, carrying them toward uncharted territory. But with their dreams rekindled, the journey had only just begun. The next morning felt different. The air was laced with anticipation, and despite the cool breeze that nipped at her skin, Sarah couldn't shake off the warmth blooming in her chest. In the kitchen, she found Jake and Emily already at the table, an array of papers spread out before them like a treasure map. We started brainstorming, Jake exclaimed, his eyes sparkling. Sarah's heart swelled. What did you come up with? Emily pointed to a rainbow of post-it notes. I wrote down ideas for our goals. We could illustrate them, write stories, maybe even make a video. Each word spilled out like confetti, and Sarah couldn't help but laugh at her daughter's enthusiasm. That sounds incredible. Sarah leaned closer. What do you all think about holding each other accountable? Like, set specific check-in times to share progress? Jake nodded eagerly, scribbling down the idea. And we can pick a fun project every month. Something that brings us together while we work on our individual goals. The passion in the room was electric. They tossed around ideas, all the while shoving aside doubts that lingered like shadows. As they finalized their first project, a family art day where each would create something representative of their dreams, an idea struck Sarah. What if we shared our journey online? Just a little blog or a vlog to document our progress. Emily's eyes widened. Like a reality show for our dreams? Exactly. Jake punched the air. we can inspire others. It's not just about us. It can be about connecting with more people. They discussed what their platform might look like, the kind of stories they wanted to share. An unexpected excitement surged within Sarah. Could they really foster something bigger than their small family unit? Later, as they sat around the kitchen island, enthusiasm spilled into laughter and stories, a gentler space now filled with possibility. But the more they discussed their plans, the more Sarah found herself grappling with deeper fears. Could they handle the vulnerability of sharing themselves with the world? What if they failed and it was all for nothing? A knock broke her thoughts. It was their neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, holding a basket brimming with freshly baked cookies. "I thought you all could use a treat, celebrating these new projects," she said, setting the basket down. "Thank you," Emily exclaimed, eyes hardly able to contain her delight. The warmth of the cookies filled the kitchen, mingling with the laughter. In that moment, Sarah felt a flicker of reassurance. As each family member took a bite, the taste of support and encouragement swirled around them. Perhaps this was the community aspect they sought, neighbors sharing in the little victories, becoming part of their journey. But what about the risks? Sarah spoke up suddenly, her voice even but laced with concern. "What if we get hurt in the process? What if people judge us?" "Then we adapt," Jake said, clasping her hand. "We've already taken the first step by being vulnerable. If we face setbacks, it's just part of the journey." His words hung in the air, and Sarah felt her anxiety shift, slowly unveiling a cautious hope. "Right? We can uplift each other. That's what this is all about." As they finished their cookies and stories, the sun dipped low, casting a golden hue through the windows, a promise of freshness and beginnings. But just as laughter filled the room again, Sarah's phone buzzed with a notification. Glancing at it, her face paled. It was a message from her old friend, someone she hadn't spoken to in years. The message read, "Hey, can we talk? I heard about what you're doing now." Her heart raced. Would this be a chance for healing, or a weak link threatening their newfound momentum? "Who was that?" Jake asked, a hint of curiosity in his voice. Taking a deep breath, Sarah faced them, her mind in tumult. "Someone from my past. They want to talk." She paused, the air heavy with unasked questions. Would reaching out stir old wounds, or could it lead to new growth? As her family watched her, a mixture of concern and support gleamed in their eyes. Would they face this together, no matter what the past held? The journey was just beginning, and Sarah could feel the weight of their stories about to take another unexpected turn. The silence stretched long in the kitchen as Sarah's mind raced. The words of the message nagged at her like an itch she couldn't scratch. So much had changed in her life. Could she really go back to that place, to that time? "Mom?" Emily's voice broke her thoughts. "Is everything okay?" Sarah managed a nod, but her insides twisted. "It's just a friend. A really old friend reaching out. We lost touch and I wasn't expecting this." Jake leaned in, his expression serious. "Do you want to talk about it?" Her heart thudded. The truth was, she wasn't sure what to feel. The past was a tangled web of memories, some sweet, some painful. "Not yet. Maybe later?" "Okay. But you know we got your back, right?" Jake said, squeezing her hand reassuringly once more. With a sigh, Sarah forced a smile as the kitchen filled with the smell of cookies, a temporary salve for her racing thoughts. They transitioned back into their plans for the art project, trying to ignite the spark that had just flickered out for Sarah. "Can we work with a theme for our family art day?" Emily suggested, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Like, dreams and goals? Or what makes us unique?" "That's brilliant," Jake exclaimed, his enthusiasm shadowing the earlier tension. As they dove back into brainstorming, Sarah felt gratitude for the two of them. They were her anchors. Their laughter already began to pull her away from the weight of the past, even if only slightly. But Jake's question lingered. What would that conversation with her friend mean? The thought of reopening old wounds both excited and terrified her. Later, after Emily darted to her room to grab her sketchpad, Sarah found herself at the kitchen counter, staring at her phone's screen. She wasn't sure it was right to ignore the message. Part of her wanted to keep her past buried, but another part craved resolution. She opened the app again, her finger hesitating. What if I just ask what they want? She whispered to herself, just before a tap at the window startled her. It was Mrs. Thompson, waving playfully as she held another batch of cookies. Thought I'd share the love, she called out, smiling widely. Thank you, Mrs. Thompson, Emily chimed, running to help. Amidst the warmth of cookies and the light banter, Sarah felt accumulated joy, yet still, anxiety rippled beneath the surface. Did she dare embrace vulnerability again? Was it worth the risk if it meant diving deep into her past? Once more, she looked at her phone. No decision yet, but a step toward clarity was needed. That was also part of their journey, right? Learning to embrace not only their dreams but also the messiness of their lives. Just as she worked up the courage to reply, a notification blinked on her screen again. Another message from that old friend, this time simply reading, I hope we can reconnect. I need to apologize. Her chest tightened. Would the past come rushing back in? Or could she find some peace in it? What if this conversation led to healing? Sarah could feel the weight of uncertainty, but also glimmers of potential. Dinner's ready. Jake's voice broke through, and they all gathered around the table, filled with the comforting smells of family recipes. Yet, as they shared stories over plates and laughter, the tension rose again within Sarah. She realized some conversations were unavoidable. Some paths needed to be traveled, no matter where they led. But just as she took a bite, her phone buzzed again, and Sarah's heart raced for a different reason this time. A message from a stranger popped up. I've heard of your project and I'm interested in collaborating. Her eyes widened. What was this new development? Could this be the break they needed? The door to their journey was swinging wide open. But could they handle everything rushing in? The best had yet to unfold, and Sarah braced herself for the ride ahead. Sarah hardly heard the clatter of dishes or the comfortable chatter around her when the second unexpected message pinged on her phone. Her mind was already drifting down the labyrinth of possibilities. A stranger interested in their project? Felt surreal, almost too good to be true. But there was something about it that sparked a little fire in her heart as dinner wrapped up. Jake and Emily dug into the dessert Mrs. Thompson had brought, their chocolate-covered faces contrasting sharply with the stress gnawing at Sarah's gut. She glanced down at her phone again. What if this collaboration could lead to something more? What if, just maybe, they could become a family recognized for their creativity? Mom? Emily's voice cut into her thoughts, sweet and curious. Are you all right? You look like you're somewhere else. Yeah, just lost in thought a bit, Sarah replied, pulling her lips into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. But Emily's gaze held a knowing warmth, and Sarah tried to mirror it, even if the apprehension coiled tighter within her. Do you want us to help with the project? I could sketch something. Jake chimed in, leaning forward, animated as always. Absolutely. We can brainstorm some ideas together right after dinner. Their enthusiasm was like a bomb, and for a moment, Sarah felt the weight lift just a little. They could make something meaningful together. Yet, her heart still weighed heavy with questions later, after the dishes were cleaned and the kitchen filled with the gentle hum of the overhead fan. Sarah snuck away with her phone to the porch. Moonlight spilled across the backyard, soft and inviting. With the night air brushing against her skin, she finally let herself breathe. She took a deep breath and typed to the stranger. Thank you for your interest. What did you have in mind? She hit send and closed her eyes. What if this lead didn't just change their project, but unlocked a part of her that had been left in the shadows? But before she could lose herself in those thoughts, her phone buzzed again. It was the old friend's reply, and her heart did a somersault. I'd love to explain everything. Can we chat tomorrow? Heavy emotions churned in her chest. Was she really ready to revisit the past? What if it hurt even deeper? But as she glanced back at the house, the sight of Emily laughing with Jake inside reminded her of the foundation she had now. She wasn't just Sarah of the past anymore. She was a mother, a partner, a creator. Determination swelled within her, slowly pushing aside the fear. "Yes, we can talk," she replied to her old friend. With that, she stepped back inside to find Jake and Emily sprawled on the living room floor, canvases and art supplies scattered around them. "We were just about to start some sketches," Jake said, waving her over excitedly as she joined them. Sarah felt a shift. Not just a shift in focus, but a deeper awakening to the beauty of vulnerability. It was messy and uneven, yet the decisions she was making felt right, like pieces of a puzzle finally coming together. She grabbed a brush and began to sketch alongside them, fueled by fresh hope and purposeful ambition. But just as the first strokes of color burst onto the canvas, her phone buzzed once more, slicing through the moment. Another notification. "Please call me. It's important." The air thickened around her. What now? Could this call reshape everything she thought she had known about her past? Sarah's heart raced, and uncertainty settled within her. But she couldn't ignore the sensation that a new journey was unfolding right before her eyes. What awaited her on the other side of that call? A shadow of the past, or a pathway to healing? She stood at the doorway of possibility, and behind it lay the chance for transformation. As the vibrant colors danced across the canvas, Sarah's heart raced not just from the excitement of creation, but from the looming uncertainty hanging in the air. She picked up the phone, the screen glowing with the persistent reminder of her past. "Call me. It's important." With a deep breath, she glanced back at Jake and Emily, their laughter filling the room as they lost themselves in imagination. This was why she was here, she reminded herself. A warm smile crept onto her lips as she watched them, but the phone felt heavy in her hand. She knew she had a choice to make: face the past head-on or keep burying it under layers of creativity and family. She stood frozen for a heartbeat, the paintbrush hovering above the canvas. Fear took a seat at the back of her mind, whispering doubts. What would she learn? And could she handle it? "Mom?" Jake's voice broke through her thoughts, and she looked up. "You okay? You look kind of faded off, unsure what to say." "Just thinking about something." She forced a laugh, putting her phone down. Little did they know, her mind was buzzing with the ghosts of yesteryears. "Why don't we just focus on the project? This is going to be amazing," Emily chirped, her excited energy cutting through those fears. With their enthusiasm as a buoy, Sarah felt herself tethering back to the present. "Yeah, let's do it," Sarah declared, returning her attention to the large canvas in front of them. The colors began to meld together, images morphing into shapes filled with potential. Yet the phone remained a specter in the corner of her attention. As the night wore on, laughter and creativity poured from the trio. The sketches took form, a testament to their bond, and a reflection of Sarah's hopes. Each brushstroke reminded her how far she had come, but the phone buzzed again, like an impatient child demanding attention. "Sarah, are you going to call her?" Jake asked, glancing toward the phone with curiosity. "I think I need to." It's just she swallowed hard, her heart racing again. Would the conversation bring up painful memories? But wouldn't facing it mean finally taking control? Can it wait until tomorrow? Emily interjected, her young eyes gleaming in the dim light. "I love this moment with you both. I don't want to ruin it," Sarah admitted, biting her lip. "They can wait. The past can wait," Jake added, his voice a warm anchor in the storm of her emotions. She felt herself torn. A part of her wanted to pull away and forget about the unresolved issues, but another piece whispered it was time to confront her past for herself and for them. "Okay, let's keep going with this," Sarah finally said, trying to focus on the joy of creation. But as much as she dived back into the art, the residue of the phone call lingered, waiting to be addressed. Hours later, as they packed away their supplies, fatigue transformed into exhilaration. Their project had taken shape, and with it so had a deeper connection between them. Yet, as the last brush was washed, Sarah found herself sitting down with her phone. The screen lit up, casting an eerie glow in the dimly lit room. She hesitated only for a moment before dialing the number. The call rang, each tone echoing louder than her doubts. She could feel her heart racing in anticipation, pulsing with every heartbeat. "Hello?" The voice on the other end sent a chill through her. Familiar yet strange. Hi, it's Sarah. Just as she opened her mouth to explain, an unexpected silence fell on the line. Was this a chance for healing or a door better left closed? Sarah, I need you to prepare for something you've long avoided. It's important. The weight of those words hung in the air, thick and heavy. What did this friend know that could change everything? As she leaned in closer, her heart echoed in her ears, torn between fear and the fragile string of hope. A door was creaking open, and she had to step through it. But where would it lead her? Sarah, are you still there? The voice broke through her thoughts. Why, yes, I'm here. She felt her breath hitch. The warmth of the moment she shared with Jake and Emily felt like a distant memory now, replaced by the cold uncertainty of this conversation. I've been thinking about reaching out for a while now. The voice continued, softer but unwavering. There's so much we need to unravel, things we left hanging. It's time, don't you think? Sarah found herself at a crossroads again. She could feel the walls she'd built around her heart trembling. Each brick held a memory steeped in pain, loss, and fear. But now, with another's help, those walls threatened to come crashing down. Did she really want this? About what, exactly? Her voice trembled slightly. About your dad, the other person replied. And everything that happened back then. I know it's hard, but it's time to confront it. The words were like a match thrown into dry brush. They ignited a firestorm in her mind, flashes of memories she thought she had locked away forever, turbulent emotions rushing back. Why now? She forced out, grasping for control. Why not just leave it buried? Because burying it only gives it power, the voice said, unwavering. You've built a beautiful life, Sarah. But to really embrace it, to fully be free, you have to confront the shadows. Sarah's heart pounded. She glanced at the canvas, the colors swirling together, a blend of chaos and beauty. Art had always been her refuge. But could she channel this turmoil too? Are you willing? The friend pressed, a gentle strength shining through the receiver. Taking a deep breath, Sarah felt an unexpected warmth spreading within her, quieting her doubts. I don't know if I can, she admitted. What if facing the past tears everything apart? It might, but it could also set you free. For a moment, silence hung between them, heavy with unspoken truths. She thought of Jake and Emily, their laughter echoing like a soft balm against her unease. They deserved a whole Sarah, one not haunted by the shadows of regret. Okay, she finally said, her voice steady, let's talk about him. There was a moment of pause. Then the voice cut through, brimming with resolve. All right, let us start with what you remember, your happiest memory of him. And we'll go from there. As she began to share, images flickered across her mind. The warmth of summer days spent at the park, the way her father would lift her onto his shoulders and let the world seem so vast and filled with promise. Each word felt like pulling a thread, unraveling stories long buried. But as the memories flowed, darker ones began to surface, too, echoes of arguments, moments of disappointment. Sarah's heart raced again as she processed the mix of emotions, the ambivalence it brought. The connection between past and present began to blur, weaving a new tapestry of understanding. Yes, there was pain, but there was also love. She felt the knot in her chest loosening, breath coming easier. See? You're stronger than you think, the voice said softly as they continued. Sarah felt a flicker of hope igniting. Perhaps this journey wouldn't end in heartbreak. Perhaps it could lead to healing. So what next? She asked, curiosity mingling with trepidation. Next, we face the truth, the friend said. And trust me, the truth can be an incredible ally if you let it. Just then, she heard footsteps and laughter filtering in from the studio. Jake and Emily. It was a stark reminder of the love and support surrounding her. Sarah's heart swelled, strengthened by their presence. Can you hold on a moment? She asked her friend. Of course, came the reply. Mom, we're almost done. Jake's enthusiastic voice rang out through the space, bursting like sunlight through the window. Just a minute, Sarah called back, feeling a mixture of joy and trepidation. Taking one last breath, she turned her attention back to the phone. Okay, let us keep going. This time, I'll be ready to face whatever comes next. But what she didn't expect was the truth that lay just around the corner. ready to unfold. Would she be prepared for what it would reveal? As her heartbeat steadied, Sarah sat cross-legged on the floor, her phone pressed against her ear. She watched the door to the studio, half expecting Jake and Emily to burst in at any moment. Their laughter would be a reassuring punctuation to this tense moment. But for now, she waded deeper into the conversation, her mind swirling with old and new. Okay, so facing the truth, she began hesitantly. What does that mean, exactly? It means being honest with yourself, the voice responded, full of warmth. It means digging into those memories, both good and bad, and allowing them to be part of your story, not just shadows in the background. Sarah nodded. Even though the voice couldn't see her, the idea felt daunting, yes, but also oddly freeing. I remember how much he wanted to be there for me, but a lot of times, it felt like he wasn't. It's like I kept waiting for him to show up. Waiting for him to show up, the friend echoed softly. What does that feel like for you now? A mix of sadness and love, she admitted, feeling the tears welling up. I loved him, I still do, but there was a lot of disappointment when he was absent. Disappointment can feel heavy, the voice replied, but it's important to acknowledge it. Your feelings are valid. Just then, the door swung open, and Emily peeked in, her eyes sparkling with joy. Mom, we made cookies, she announced, her excitement radiating through the space. Sarah couldn't help but smile. That sounds amazing, sweetheart. I'll be right there. She muted the call, glancing at the timer on her phone. Just a few more minutes. Did you hear that? She said to her friend, a warmth blooming in her chest. Emily's just like I was at her age, so full of life, so innocent. It makes me wish things could been different for my dad. That's the essence of it, the longing for a different outcome. But it starts with embracing what is and what was. You're shaping your story now, Sarah. You're both the artist and the canvas, the friend remarked with encouragement. Taking a deep breath, Sarah looked at the remnants of her painting. It was a reflection of her journey, a blend of colors that screamed pain but also whispered hope. Every brushstroke had taken time and tears. Okay, she said, her voice firming again. Let us talk about what happened when things got tough. Good. What is the first vivid memory that comes to mind? They prompted. A wave of heaviness washed over her, but she leaned into it. The argument, the last one we had. It was the day before everything changed. It left me feeling raw and unanswered. Start there, her friend encouraged. Let us peel back those layers together. As the memories started to spill forth, Sarah found herself on the edge of a painful abyss. Guilt, anger, and heartbreak fought for dominance within her. But it was a chance to reclaim her narrative, to bring the pieces of her past back to life with understanding. Suddenly, the laughter from the studio snapped her back momentarily. Memories from last weekend flooded her mind, Jake and Emily giggling as flour covered every surface during their baking adventure. An unexpected pang of gratitude surged through her. Are you still with me? The voice reminded her gently. Yeah, I'm here, she whispered, the vulnerability sinking in. Let us take a moment, they suggested, and Sarah closed her eyes. She let the joy of her children wash over her, grounding her in the present. But in the depths of her thoughts, one question lingered. What if uncovering these truths would not just bring closure, but also a new beginning? The door creaked open again, and Jake leaned in, holding a plate piled high with cookies. Mom, look, they're a masterpiece. Sarah grinned at her son's delightful pride, feeling a spark of joy mingle with the tender ache deep within. I can't wait to taste one. As she rose to join them, her friend's voice slipped through her mind, urging her on. Remember, confronting the truth can bring unexpected insights. With a final nod, Sarah stepped toward her family, resolving to return to her conversation soon. What awaited her on this path could change everything. Keys to unlocking a painful past and stepping into a more authentic future were waiting. But what more would she uncover about her dad and about herself? The next layer of her journey loomed just ahead, waiting to be discovered. As laughter resonated through the kitchen, Sarah felt the warm embrace of her children pull her back into the present. Jake held out a cookie, their eyes twinkling in unison, And for a heartbeat, the past felt distant, just shadows dancing along the walls of memory. She took a bite, the sweetness mixing with the bittersweet burden she'd been carrying. Delicious, she squealed, instantly shifting to her role as a proud mom, watching the way Jake and Emily basked in their success. Yet, beneath the surface, her thoughts stirred, swirling around the conversation that still lingered on her phone. Could she really unravel the truth about her father? Did she have the strength to face the emotions that were bound to surface? Yes. Score one for the Baker team, Jake exclaimed, jumping into a victory dance, while Emily playfully danced her own praises, swinging her flower-dusted arms like a delightfully graceful octopus. Their joy wrapped around her, and she felt a piece of her heart heal. All right, Sarah chuckled, her fears momentarily forgotten. What's the next challenge? Totally thought you'd never ask, Emily said, enthusiasm bubbling. Let us decorate the cookies next, but we need the flavors to match our dreams. It was a simple idea, yet it ignited within Sarah's mind. Friendship, art, and family intertwined in one delicious project. She envisioned colors, shapes, and symbols that could paint their ambitions and fears into something tangible. As they decorated, each swirl of icing became a touch of their collective journey. Emily created a cookie shaped like an open book, while Jake designed his as a camera lens. Sarah, holding the icing decorator with newfound ease, drew her easel brush in hand. This represents my dreams, she said with a radiant smile. But with every stroke came a whisper of truth from earlier. Deep inside, she knew there was still more work to be done. Tension from the past needed to be confronted, not to weigh her down, but to allow her to fully embrace her present. Mom? Jake broke into her thoughts, wiping icing from his hands. What do you think about keeping this cookie project as something we could share online? Yes. Emily jumped in, her excitement infectious. Like a vlog, we can show how we turned cookies into art and really push our own creative boundaries. Sarah felt the air snap with potential. The whole concept of sharing and connecting further with the community opened a door with bright light spilling from behind it. Hope surged within. Let us do it. We can call it Cookies and Creativity, she declared, her heart bolstered by the know-how of lifting one another through shared ambivalence and love. That night, as they cleared the kitchen and celebrated their creations, the aftertaste of joy remained. But in the silence following their fun, Sarah couldn't ignore the drone of her unfinished conversation with her old friend. Taking a deep breath, she knew it was time. Kids, could I steal a few minutes? She asked gently, their faces lighting up with curiosity. Just to do something important? Sure, Mom, Emily replied, her voice bubbling with understanding. Alone at the back table, Sarah collected her thoughts. She opened her phone and glanced at the message that had been beckoning her all day. She hit the call button. Hello? The voice was reassuring. Hi, it's me. Let us talk. And just like that, she stepped forward, deeper than ever into her journey. As they spoke, Sarah felt initially tense, then lightened by insights pouring forth a mix of sadness, but also moments of clarity. She recalled her happiest memories alongside the darkest days. Her father a bittersweet figure. Though long inaccessible, she realized healing was possible by embracing even those memories. Hours later, the conversation left her breathless but strangely invigorated. It felt like breathing new air, untainted by the past. Thank you for helping me face this, Sarah said. Elements of her story were finally weaving into something brighter, lifting each shadow into daylight. With a resolve bolstered by love, she took a moment and sent a text to Jake and Emily. Let us meet for our first family project session? A minute later, her phone buzzed with both of their excited replies, and as she read them, a smile stretched wide across her face. In that instant, Sarah felt transformed. No longer were the chains of regret binding her. She was free to dream, free to create. And with a renewed bond to her children, they would not just pursue their dreams. They would lift one another up in love and resilience. And no matter the struggles, they would face them together imperfect, happy, and whole. The canvas of their family had turned into a beautiful piece of art, shaping a new beginning filled with possibilities. And as she drifted back into the joyful laughter of her children, Sarah knew every brushstroke ahead would be painted with hope, love, and the courage to embrace whatever came next. Now, as you dive into your own journey, don't forget to subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss the next exclusive stories that can inspire your life. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. And please, comment below with your own reactions and feelings about Sarah's transformative journey. Lastly, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. It's time for all of us to reclaim our stories. Don't wait not even one more second to help spread this message.